Hello and good morning, everyone, and welcome to the next session of Exploring 3D Experience Works Live. First, if you're new to using GoToWebinar, just a quick reminder here on screen for viewing in full screen. You're going to use that button right there. You can also exit full screen, but we recommend viewing this presentation in full screen. And if you have any questions throughout, you can just ask them right in the questions box, and we will answer as many as we possibly can in the allotted time by the end of today's session. But if we don't get to yours, we will be sure to reach out to you individually by email. So this is our series where we dive into different areas of the 3D Experience Works portfolio. Now that's me on the left of your screen there, as you can see in my webcam right here. And usually we have John with us, but he couldn't make it today, but he will be here for the next one for sure. So if you're new to this webinar series, you're probably wondering, what is 3D Experience Works? Well, to answer that question, let's just talk about SolidWorks for a minute. So if you're familiar with SolidWorks, now it is an amazing 3D CAD software that we've known and loved for almost 25 years, maybe a little longer than that now, actually. And it's become so functional and so powerful that sometimes it's tough to imagine what SolidWorks can't do. That is until you consider the power of some of Dassault Systèmes' other brands. So Dassault, our parent company, has been accumulating all of these different software brands that each have their own individual features and functionality that play into kind of different areas of engineering and business as a whole. And all of these come together in what we call the 3D Experience platform. So the platform is kind of a congregation of all of these different brands and all the functionalities they each offer. But 3D Experience Works is really a subset of these brands designed to help product development teams attack that product development process. So speaking to the domains here that 3D Experience Works exists: design and engineering, governance and management, simulation, manufacturing, production, business intelligence, and sales and marketing. And if we take a look at the process that many of our product development teams kind of run through on a daily basis, or ongoing through all of their projects, we run on market demands, and we have to define problems and research, specify requirements before we get into the fun stuff, brainstorming solutions, developing them, designing and prototyping, and then simulating them until we're ready to go to market. And each of these different brands kind of find each of their own little niche area that they fit into. They're kind of each one puzzle piece that fit into the bigger picture that is our puzzle of product development here. Today, we're specifically going to be talking about the design, develop, and prototype section of this design process with so it's something offered by the SolidWorks brand for 2D. So that's actually going to be 3D Experience DraftSight. But before I introduce our special guests today, just want to launch a quick poll question and ask everyone how often you work with 2D CAD data. So you can click any of those answers right there in the poll question. Now, if you use it every day, you can toggle every day, often throughout the week, sometimes rarely, or never. Okay, we'll give just another few seconds for people to get in there and answer that question. Looks like we have. All right, that's just about it. So I'm going to close this poll now. Thank you everyone for answering that poll. At this point, I'm going to introduce today's special guest, Mr. Alex Timofeev, our subject matter expert in 3D Experience DraftSight. So great to have you here, Alex, and very excited to see what you have prepared for us.
Hey everyone, thank you very much for having me. So let me turn off my cam here and jump right into the presentation. Sorry, Gian, I don't see the deck loading. There we go. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, so today, like Gian said, I would like to introduce 3D Experience DraftSight, tell you a little bit about what we're bringing, what we're introducing here. So DraftSight is the 2D and 3D CAD design and drafting solution coming from Dassault Systèmes. And now there's a version that really integrates the ability to manage data, to share, and to collaborate through the 3D Experience platform. So before we jump in, let's take a look at some of the common challenges that individuals using DraftSight face today. So when we look at the process to work with a drawing, to create it and to actually get it to whether it's manufacturing, to the construction crews to actually build buildings, for example, one of the many use cases where DraftSight's applicable. There's a lot of steps throughout the review process, throughout sign-offs. A lot of different people and stakeholders are involved. So the drawing has to be ready for each of these different steps. It has to be signed off by the various stakeholders. It has to be approved by management, by the engineering leaders. It has to be distributed, and it also has to be shared correctly with the appropriate access rights. Now, today, a lot of that is happening through email, through Dropbox, through other services. So when you start to work with a lot of different drawings and a lot of different versions and revisions, things can get very disorganized very, very rapidly just because you're working with such a large volume of drawings across so many different steps in the approval and the collaboration process. So with the 3DEXPERIENCE platform, the vision is that we're connecting people, data, and ideas in one single environment. And with that, we're introducing collaboration, both in an unstructured way, as far as being able to communicate and just share content with other stakeholders, and also in a much more structured way where you have organization, where you have documentation, where you have a very well-defined flow as the drawing moves from when it is first created to when it is finally complete, whether released, frozen, whatever state it ultimately ends up on. And there are various applications on the 3DEXPERIENCE platform to allow us to collaborate in different ways with different users. So with 3DEXPERIENCE DraftSight, we start with that key 2D or 3D drafting component. You still have the core functionality and capabilities of DraftSight where you can create drawings. But the next step is that you're starting to manage those revisions so things are not lost in multiple email threads or sent through attachments. And you're able to control how drawings are accessed directly through the cloud, and you're able to share without any issues, making sure that everyone has the right version, the latest version at any given time. And in addition to that, you're able to manage the entire project directly through the 3DEXPERIENCE platform and assign tasks to different individuals and users. And we'll take a look at some of these different workflows and examples in just a moment. So with that,
let's see some stuff live. Are you ready, Alex?
Absolutely, I am. So let me switch over to my screen here. Thank you. All right, Gian, could you confirm that you can see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Wonderful. So over the next few minutes, I'd like to take you through a few different examples of how we can work with DraftSight and the 3DEXPERIENCE platform to make things very seamless and efficient. So here we're starting with DraftSight, in this case DraftSight Premium, open on my laptop here. And you'll notice on the right side of the screen, we have a new task pane coming from the 3DEXPERIENCE platform. So first, let's open a drawing. So I'm just going to open a drawing that I have saved here on my computer. It's nice DWG. All right, perfect. I have a drawing. It's saved locally, but now I'd like to share it with the rest of my team. So through the 3DEXPERIENCE task pane, I can start to work and manage this drawing. So as soon as I open it, I can see the drawing here. Currently, it is only saved on my machine, so it is not synced to the 3DEXPERIENCE platform, and it's not accessible to anyone else. I also know that I'm working with the first revision, in this case A.1, and this is the name of my drawing. So I have quite a few different commands here at the bottom, but also by right-clicking, I get a drop-down where I can start to work with this drawing. first things first, I'd like to save it so that it's saved to the 3DEXPERIENCE platform where it's in a secured environment that is only accessible to the people I choose to invite. So I can click save. I'll get a pop-up. The drawing is in OK. I'm verifying that I'm saving the A.1 revision. Check the box and click save. So right now, the drawing is being uploaded to the 3DEXPERIENCE platform, and it's still also saved on my computer. So as soon as it's saved, we can see the status has been updated. We can see that it has not been modified in any way, shape, or form since I last saved it. And additionally, it is not reserved by anyone else, so it's accessible to anyone else on my team. So first things first, let's look at the maturity states. So if we right click and open up the maturity state, let me make this a little bit bigger for everyone. So I'm just gonna drag this out. This is the default maturity cycle that's available on the 3DEXPERIENCE platform. Some of these states and workflows can be customized to suit each individual user. But in this case, because this drawing has just been saved, it's currently in the in-work state. I can make it private, I can freeze it if I don't want to make any further changes to it, or I can also release it to mark it as release state. By simply clicking, the maturity state has been updated. If we go back into the maturity, we can see it's currently in released, so I can make this drawing obsolete, or put it back into work if I'd like to make further changes. Now, I've released this drawing, it's ready to go, but then I realized that I had to make a change. So I'm going to do one very simple change. I'll jump over here into the layers manager and change the color of my dimensions to, let's say, yellow. Now I'll save this locally. And as soon as I make a change and save my work, we can see that the status of this drawing has changed because it is no longer in sync with the version that's accessible to everyone else. So I'd like to save this with the new changes, with the new dimension color. And we'll notice the maturity state of this particular drawing has been released. So I'm not able to overwrite it since the drawing is already signed off on, it's approved. But I can create a new revision on the fly. So I'll check the new revision box, click save. And right now the latest version with the modifications I made has been saved. The status is green. And we'll notice that now we're working with the B.1 revision. So we've made a change, we've saved the drawing, we have the latest version. And if we ever want to go back, we have another command to do that. By right-clicking, opening that menu, we can click the Replace by Revision. And this will show us what revisions are available. In this case, the A.1, when it was last modified and what state it's in. And we can also overwrite any changes that I've made locally on my computer. I do want to overwrite it. So now I'm back to the drawing that I started with in the A1 revision, and it is unlocked and not reserved and available for everyone else. So this is a simple example of how we can work with drawings and we're able to share them and manage them appropriately with the rest of our team. Now, let's take a look at how we can collaborate and start to manage tasks and some of the more project planning and management functionality using the 3DEXPERIENCE platform. So there are a lot of different apps available on the platform. Let's take a look at one of them. It's called Collaborative Tasks. So Collaborative Tasks allows us to create and manage tasks, whether for ourselves or for others. So here we have our 3 swim lanes, the to do, in work, and completed, the states that any given task can be in. And I can see the different tasks that I've either created or that have been assigned to me. So I can see that I have a task to change a dimension color. So I'd like to complete that task right now. First thing I'll do is drag that into the in work state. Then I'll open it up. And I see that there's an attachment. So there's another drawing that I need to make a change to. So by clicking open, the drawing is automatically downloaded from the 3DEXPERIENCE platform and opened inside of DraftSight. So I'm going to resize that a little bit, zoom out so you guys can see the drawing a little bit better. And I'll go back to the session just to make sure I'm tracking the drawing. So we can see it's the latest version that I'm working on. And now I'll make a requested change. We'll change the dimensions again. Let's make them nice and red. And we'll save my work locally. And just like previously, as soon as we make a change, it is now out of sync. There's a different version on the 3DEXPERIENCE platform. So I can once more save it, create a new revision with the changes that I've made. Beautiful. Created the B1. If I go back to the collaborative tasks app, make that nice and big. So my work is done. I've completed the drawing. I've saved it so it's accessible to the rest of the team. And I can close that. So this is another example of how we can use the 3DEXPERIENCE platform to collaborate through tasks and to work with drawings through attachments and then save everything in one single place. So now let's take a look at the 3DEXPERIENCE platform outside of DraftSight. So I'm going to jump over here into my browser, into Google Chrome. I'm already logged in to the 3DEXPERIENCE platform, and I have the same apps and the same capabilities directly through my browser without having to access DraftSight. So I have my lifecycle, I have the collaborative tasks that I was just looking at, and then I also have my 3D space where all of my drawings are being saved. So let me refresh that and make sure all the drawings are here. So we can see different drawings. This was the A1, the one that was originally attached to the task that I just completed. Then the drawing where I made a change. And if we'd like to see more details, for example, on this one, we can drag and drop it in here into the collaborative lifecycle app. And we can see what maturity state each drawing is in. In this case, they're both in work, when they were last modified, and what revisions exist of this particular drawing. Now, additionally, I can create new revisions if I'd like to create, for example, C1. And then maybe create a new task and assign it to another engineer on the team. So through the browser, I have access to those same capabilities and to that same functionality where I can manage, share, and access all of my drawings directly in one single place. And this isn't the end of the 3DEXPERIENCE platform. Like I said, there's a lot of other apps that allow us to do that unstructured collaboration as well as some of the workflows we've just walked through. So let's say I want to manage the project overall, not just look at some of the drawings, but also look at how the overall project is going and communicate with the rest of my team and other departments. So I'll open up the project management tab, which has two different apps on it, the 3D Swim app and project planning. So let's start with project planning. I'll make that big for everyone. So for each of the teams, each of the departments in the organization, we can create a dedicated project where they're able to manage their tasks, manage all of their documents, and make sure everything is being completed in a timely manner. Now, I'm on the engineering team, so that's the project that I'll open up. So first, we see our project summary, whether we have any milestones that are in progress or need to be completed, all of the different tasks and what state they're in, and whether anything is at risk or is already late. If we scroll down a little bit, we can see our burn down for all the different tasks we have in this particular project, and the resource usage, whether everyone is fully committed. In this case, we have Ben on the team. He's been assigned the majority of tasks and he's working on them. If I want to see the details, if I click on tasks, I can see all of the tasks that are part of this project through the three states of to do and work and completed. And to take that a step further, I can also see the entire project schedule. So I'll expand that a little bit. We can see we're in the engineering project, all of the different tasks that have been created. We can see when everything is due to be completed, when it needs to be completed, if anything is at risk, representing these red lines, or any dependencies between the tasks that we have. And if we want to see details, for example, design and drafting, by double-clicking, we can open up the task and see any additional details, when things are due, who's assigned to the task, if there's any deliverables or attachments, and who's also the owner. And from an access rights perspective, click on the Members tab. We can see everyone who has accessibility to this project, what type of access they have, whether they're a leader or a member or a viewer, for example, in Jane's case, and we can make changes. For example, let's make Jane an author, so she can start to create tasks instead of just see them. And any content that is part of the project is also saved. Now, this is one way we can start to work together on the 3DEXPERIENCE platform, but communication is key from the collaboration perspective. So this is where the 3D Swim application comes in. So 3D Swim allows you to create communities, whether it's per project or for department, for each group in the organization. And in this case, just like the projects that we have for each department, we also have a community where you're able to share various types of information. In this case, in the engineering community, we have some simulation results being shared. We have some customer feedback. And if we filter, for example, on just looking at wiki pages, we can see all of the different meeting minutes that have been created, some of the engineering standards that the team is adhering to. And this isn't limited to just one team or one group. For example, for finance, they're able to share their financial results in this community and the appropriate people have visibility to them. Legal can share vendor contracts. Product management can share standards, frameworks that are applicable. And marketing can even participate by taking renders from the engineering team and creating marketing content directly inside of a community. So all of these are different examples of how a team and a company can collaborate through the 3DEXPERIENCE platform. So with that, Gian, I'll let you take over if we can go back to the slides.
Sure thing, Alex. Let me know when you can see my screen.
Yes, I can. So to wrap up, I wanted to briefly recap what we just talked about and some of the workflows we looked at. So thinking about the common challenges that are present for many organizations today, as far as going through that approval process, as far as trying to manage this volume of data, with the 3DEXPERIENCE platform, we're introducing a lot of structure and organization where everything is in sync. Everyone is looking at the correct or the latest version, and everything is controlled in a very precise and organized fashion. So with DraftSight, you have the standard 2D and 3D design and drafting capabilities directly through the whether DraftSight that's already been on the computer or through 3DEXPERIENCE DraftSight, and you're able to do everything that you'd like to do that's existed as far as working with DWG, DXF, or any other 2D format. And with the 3DEXPERIENCE platform, you get this additional element of being able to manage all of your data and making sure everything is centralized, secure, and accessible in one single place. And then you start to expand and collaborate in a much more effective way through the project management and through the collaboration using apps like Project Planner and 3D Swim. So all of this is powered and connected through the 3D Experience platform. So all of your information, all of your work, all of your collaboration and communication is in one single environment. And with that, I would invite you to learn more if this looks interesting, if you'd like to see a very cool video and read a little bit more about 3D Experience DraftSight. We have a page set up on 2dcad.com, so please don't hesitate to check it out. And if you have any questions, we're happy to answer them.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us, Alex. This has been very eye-opening for us, especially as John and I live in the 3D world. It's very interesting to see how similar it is in the 2D world as well. With that, I do want to point out, 2dcad.com is a great place to go learn about DraftSight and 3D Experience DraftSight. If you'd like to learn more about 3D Experience Works as a whole, you can visit solidworks.com/3dexperience-works. Don't worry, all three of these links are actually in the chat box of the webinar window. So if you click on chat, then you'll see a message from me that has all three of these links. And of course, if you'd like to check out any of our previous sessions, as well as register for any of the upcoming ones, then you can do so using that third link by seeing John and I's page on solidworks.com.